the approvals have increased compared to the last year's 13.8 billion. The disbursements, which is the money that has actually gone into the economy, is the second largest. It's 11 billion compared to last year. The profits before tax this year is 2.2 billion compared to last year, which was slightly 1.9 billion. What we've seen is an increase in the tax because of the change in legislation and how you account for your preference shares. But I think overall we've had a very good set of results. Well, the key objectives was to increase our level of investments and disbursements, that's one. But also to ensure that through those investments and disbursements, we create employment, or at least we help facilitate the creation of employment. As far as the increasing the level of approvals, because that's how we measure ourselves, I think we've done well, together with the disbursements being the second largest. It's only on the number of employment that we've created, where although we've seen an increase in the approvals, there's no corresponding increase. But that also tells us that's because of where we have invested. We've invested in more sectors where we've not necessarily created corresponding jobs for the amount of money that we've invested in. This year before tax, it's a very good picture. It's over 2 billion rands. It shows that we have indeed ensured that this company continues to be sustainable. The profit for us is an indication of how sustainable we are as the IDC. We have seen that. It's only when you take the effect of tax as a result of the change in legislation that year on year, when you compare it now, our profit goes to 1.6 billion versus the 1.9. But I'm satisfied with the level of the profit where we find ourselves. What we have seen is that the trend has been an increasing one. We have seen an increase from 13.2 to 13.8. When we compare year on year, in fact, we can even do 3 years, we've seen the green sector, which is the photovoltaic and the wind and the solar, being the ones that have benefited most. Close to 5.7 billion rands was approved for that has gone to green. But what has been encouraging is that we've also seen an increase in manufacturing. We know manufacturing in South Africa has not been performing as to the extent that it should, but we have seen it. And I think even going forward, we will see more focus on us as the IDC into the manufacturing, the agro-processing industries as being the ones that we want to stimulate and ensure that they receive more attention. The approach we take in terms of our activities going to the rest of the African continent is to ensure that we promote regional integration, so that those activities that we do indeed talk to South Africa as well. For this year, I think over 2 billion, just over 2 billion has been approved for those investments outside of the continent of South Africa. This still provides an opportunity for us to can do even more. However, I think if one looks at the context in which we've operated, particularly this particular year, I'm comfortable that we are on the right trend. I think looking into 5 to 10 years' time, I think we'll see even a massive growth in terms of opportunities in the rest of the continent, because that's where they lead, I think, in terms of infrastructure, opportunities in terms of agro-processing. I think there's a huge opportunity for us as far as the integration with the continent is concerned. What we do is, for the 5 years that we've looked at, we're looking at investing about 100 billion rands into the economy. Now, for us to be able to do that, that means then we'll have to also go out and actually raise the funding. So we will see the level of our borrowings increasing to be able to support these investments. 100 billion is what we're putting in, because we're saying this economy of ours needs more stimulation. This economy of ours needs more activity, particularly on the manufacturing, the processing and the beneficiation. Also, there will be infrastructure that is happening, so we need to take advantage of that, and combined with integrating into the continent. If one looks at 100 billion over 5 years, I think that's a big number, but in the scheme of things, it's modest. Really, the message to the industry is that the IDC is a sustainable organization. The IDC is a key industrial development finance for the South African economy. We achieve this through partnership, because our activities do involve private sector and government. So the message is really to the industry is that we're open for business. We would want the business to partner with us. The South African economy needs stimulation. There's opportunities in regional integration, and we'd want the business, as they expand into the economy, into the rest of the African continent, to come and partner with us to ensure that then we all take advantage of that. We have the resources. Our balance sheet is still relatively strong. It's over 130 billion, and we're saying we have the resources. Let's partner and ensure that through those activities that we would fund, we are able to create jobs, which is what we need in this country of ours. We have to reduce this level of unemployment, and IDC can only do that in true partnership with business.